Our planet is home to some of the most remote and isolated places imaginable where few have ever set foot. In today's video, we're setting out on an extraordinary journey to explore the farthest reaches of our world. From forgotten islands adrift in the vast ocean to towns hidden deep within inhospitable landscapes, these extraordinary places highlight the astonishing diversity and mystery that our world holds. Get ready to uncover the hidden gems of our planet in 20 most remote places on Earth. Number 20. La Rinconada, Peru. La Rinconada, Peru is often regarded as one of the most remote places on Earth, perched at an astonishing 16,732 feet above sea level in the Peruvian Andes. This mining town is not only the highest permanently inhabited settlement in the world, but it's also one of the harshest. The journey to La Rinconada is no easy feat. Reaching the town requires navigating treacherous mountain roads and enduring freezing conditions. There's no paved road, making access difficult, especially during winter. Despite the inhospitable environment, over 50,000 people live here, drawn by the lure of gold mining. However, living conditions are tough. The town lacks basic infrastructure like plumbing, and most residents work under a system where they keep part of the gold they find instead of receiving wages. Life at this altitude means dealing with extreme cold, altitude sickness, and isolation, making La Rinconada one of the most challenging places to live. Number 19. Tristan da Cunha, British Overseas Territory. Tristan da Cunha is the most remote inhabited island on Earth, located in the South Atlantic Ocean, about 1,500 miles from the nearest inhabited land, St. Helena, and over 2,400 miles from South Africa. This volcanic island is home to a small community of around 250 people, descendants of British settlers who arrived in the 1800s. Reaching Tristan da Cunha is a challenge in itself. There's no airport, so the only way to get there is by a 7-day boat journey from Cape Town, South Africa, aboard one of the few supply ships that visit the island a few times a year. The island has one main settlement, Edinburgh of the Seven Seas, and life is simple and self-sufficient, with the community relying on fishing and farming. The isolation, rugged landscape, and unpredictable weather make it an extraordinary yet difficult place to live. Number 18. Inhospitable, Greenland. Inhospitable, Greenland is one of the most remote and isolated towns in the world. Located on the eastern coast of Greenland near the mouth of the Scoresby Sound, the largest fjord system on Earth. With a population of around 350 people, this small community lives in one of the coldest and most desolate environments imaginable. Getting to Inhospitable is a significant challenge. There are no roads connecting it to other parts of Greenland, and the town is accessible only by helicopter or boat when the ice isn't blocking the waters, which is most of the year. Flights are rare, and ships can only reach the town during a short window in the summer. Despite the extreme conditions, residents survive by hunting, fishing, and relying on nature. Inhospitable's isolation and frigid climate make it a truly remote and extraordinary place to call home. Number 17. Socotra, Yemen. Socotra, Yemen is often called the most alien-looking place on Earth due to its unique biodiversity. Located in the Arabian Sea, about 240 miles from mainland Yemen, this remote island is home to hundreds of plant and animal species that exist nowhere else on the planet, such as the iconic dragon's blood tree. The island's otherworldly landscapes and flora have earned it a UNESCO World Heritage designation. Reaching Socotra is not easy. The island is accessible by a few flights from Yemen, but political instability in the region often limits travel. Occasionally, boat journeys from neighboring Oman are an option, but they're infrequent and unreliable. Despite its isolation, around 60,000 people live on the island, mostly in small fishing and farming communities. The harsh climate, combined with limited modern infrastructure, makes life on Socotra challenging, yet it remains one of the most untouched and remote places in the world. Number 16. Barrow, Alaska. Barrow, Alaska, now known as Utqiagvik, is one of the northernmost inhabited places on Earth, located just 1,300 miles from the North Pole. This isolated town sits on the edge of the Arctic Ocean, with a population of around 4,500 people, mostly Inupiat natives. The region is known for its extreme climate. Winters are long and harsh, with temperatures often plunging below zero, and the town experiences polar night, where the sun doesn't rise for 65 days during winter. Getting to Barrow is challenging. There are no roads connecting it to the rest of Alaska, so the only way in is by plane, with flights from Anchorage or Fairbanks. Once there, the isolation is palpable. Barrow's rugged, icy landscape and remote location make it a tough place to live. Despite these hardships, the community thrives through subsistence hunting, fishing, and a deep connection to their Arctic environment. Number 15. Devon Island, Canada. Devon Island, Canada holds the title of the largest uninhabited island on Earth. Located in the Canadian Arctic archipelago, this barren, icy expanse covers over 21,000 square miles, making it larger than many countries. The island's extreme conditions, freezing temperatures, harsh winds, and rocky, lifeless terrain make it uninhabitable for humans. Despite its inhospitable environment, Devon Island is significant for scientific research. NASA uses the island as a Mars analog, studying its landscape to simulate conditions on the Red Planet. Getting to Devon Island is a major challenge as it requires specialized expedition flights from Resolute, the nearest inhabited settlement, followed by a difficult journey over treacherous Arctic terrain. With no permanent residents and only occasional scientific teams, Devon Island is one of the most remote places on the planet, a frozen desert that feels as alien as Mars itself. Number 14. Tuvalu, South Pacific. Tuvalu, a tiny island nation in the South Pacific, is one of the most remote and least visited countries in the world. Comprising 9 small coral atolls, Tuvalu is located halfway between Hawaii and Australia, with a population of around 11,000 people. It's known for its pristine beaches, turquoise waters, and vibrant marine life, but its isolation makes it a challenging destination. Reaching Tuvalu requires determination. There are only a few flights per week from Fiji, and the airport is little more than a small airstrip. With limited modern infrastructure and few tourists, the island nation retains a tranquil, untouched atmosphere. However, Tuvalu faces the threat of rising sea levels due to climate change, which could submerge parts of the islands in the future. Despite the challenges, the tight-knit community relies on fishing, farming, and traditional practices to sustain life in one of the most remote places on Earth. Number 13. Easter Island, Chile. Easter Island, or Rapa Nui, is one of the most remote inhabited islands in the world. Located over 2,000 miles off the coast of Chile in the southeastern Pacific Ocean. Famous for its mysterious giant stone statues called moai, this isolated island is steeped in ancient culture and intrigue. With a population of about 7,000 people, mostly Rapa Nui natives, the island remains a fascinating blend of Polynesian heritage and rugged, volcanic landscapes. Getting to Easter Island requires a lengthy 5-hour flight from Santiago, Chile, as it's the only connection to the outside world. The island's remote location means that supplies are limited and expensive, and tourism is its main industry. Despite its isolation, Easter Island attracts visitors curious about the moai and the island's unique history. Living there, however, means embracing isolation, relying on limited resources, and existing in a place where the past feels ever present. Number 12. Siwa, Egypt. Siwa, Egypt is a remote oasis town located deep in the western desert near the Libyan border and is one of the most isolated settlements in the country. Known for its lush palm groves, ancient ruins, and therapeutic salt lakes, Siwa feels like a hidden world. The town is home to around 30,000 people, primarily Berber-speaking locals, who have preserved a unique culture and way of life. Reaching Siwa requires a long journey. It's about an 8-hour drive from Cairo, with no direct flights. The isolation has helped protect its distinct traditions, and Siwa has become a popular destination for those seeking solitude and tranquility. Life in Siwa is centered around agriculture, with date palms and olives being the main crops, and the slow pace of life is a far cry from Egypt's bustling cities. Its remote location and serene environment make Siwa a truly unique and peaceful place. Number 11. Villa Las Estrellas, Chilean Antarctic Territory. Villa Las Estrellas, located on King George Island in Antarctica, is one of the few permanent civilian settlements on the frozen continent. This small Chilean outpost is home to just about 100 people during the summer and fewer than 50 in the harsh Antarctic winter. Residents include researchers, support staff, and their families, making it one of the most remote communities on Earth. Reaching Villa Las Estrellas is no easy feat. The settlement is accessible by icebreaker ships or specialized flights from Chile, with treacherous weather often complicating travel. The isolation is extreme. There's no leaving during the winter months, and medical services are limited, so residents are even advised to have their appendix removed before moving there. Life here revolves around research and survival in the unforgiving environment. Despite the challenges, Villa Las Estrellas offers a rare glimpse into living in one of the most remote and inhospitable places on Earth. Number 10. Bantam, Cocos Islands, Australia. Bantam, located on the Cocos Islands, is a tiny and remote settlement in the Indian Ocean, over 1,700 miles northwest of Perth, Australia. The Cocos Islands are a remote Australian territory, and Bantam is the largest village on Home Island, one of the 27 coral atolls that make up the archipelago. The islands are home to around 600 people, mostly of Cocos Malay descent, who have preserved a unique culture influenced by their Malay heritage. Reaching Bantam is a challenge due to its isolation. Flights from Perth are the primary means of access, and even then, the journey takes hours across vast stretches of ocean. The islands have minimal infrastructure, with a relaxed, laid-back lifestyle centered around fishing and traditional crafts. The tropical beauty of Bantam, combined with its cultural richness and remoteness, makes it a peaceful yet difficult-to-reach destination far from the rest of the world. Number 9. Supai Village, Arizona. Supai Village, Arizona is one of the most isolated communities in the continental United States. Tucked away deep in the Grand Canyon, this small village is home to around 200 members of the Havasupai tribe. Supai is unique in that it is only accessible by foot, mule, or helicopter. There are no roads leading to the village, so reaching it involves a grueling 8-mile hike from the nearest parking area or a helicopter ride. Located near the stunning Havasu Falls, Supai is surrounded by breathtaking canyon scenery, and the tribe has lived in this remote location for centuries. The isolation has preserved their traditional way of life, though the village does receive visitors drawn to the beauty of the waterfalls. Life in Supai is rugged and self-sufficient, and mail is still delivered by mule, making it one of the last places in the U.S. to rely on this method of transportation. Number 8. Oymyakon, Russia. Oymyakon, Russia is the coldest inhabited place on Earth, located deep in Siberia's frozen wilderness. With temperatures plunging as low as -90°F in winter, this small village of around 500 people lives in one of the most extreme climates known to humanity. Winters are long and brutal, with the ground permanently frozen, making life a constant battle against the elements. Getting to Oymyakon is a challenge in itself. It's accessible only via a long, treacherous drive from Yakutsk, one of the coldest cities in the world, over icy, snow-covered roads. The village's isolation and severe cold make modern infrastructure minimal. Outdoor plumbing is impossible, and cars must be kept running to prevent them from freezing. Despite these harsh conditions, the residents endure through subsistence hunting, reindeer herding, and fishing, facing incredible resilience in one of the most remote and frigid corners of the planet. Number 7. Pitcairn Island, British Overseas Territories. Pitcairn Island, located in the South Pacific, is one of the most isolated inhabited places on Earth, with a population of fewer than 50 people. This tiny volcanic island, part of the British Overseas Territory, is famous for its history as the final refuge of the mutineers from the HMS Bounty in 1790. Their descendants still live on the island today, maintaining a close-knit, self-sufficient community. Reaching Pitcairn is no easy task. The island has no airport, so access is only possible by boat, typically a 32-hour voyage from the nearest port in French Polynesia. Pitcairn's remoteness means supplies arrive infrequently, and life on the island revolves around subsistence farming, fishing, and occasional tourism. Despite the isolation, the island's dramatic cliffs, lush vegetation, and rich history make it a unique and fascinating place to live, but its remote location offers little connection to the outside world. Number 6. Longyearbyen, Norway. Longyearbyen, Norway is the northernmost town in the world, located on the Svalbard archipelago, just 800 miles from the North Pole. With a population of around 2,400 people, this Arctic settlement is a hub for scientific research and adventure tourism. Despite its extreme location, Longyearbyen is surprisingly accessible, with flights from Oslo or Troms, making it a gateway to the Arctic wilderness. The town is surrounded by dramatic, snow-covered mountains and polar landscapes, where polar bears roam freely, and the sun doesn't rise for nearly 4 months during the winter. Longyearbyen's residents are a mix of scientists, adventurers, and locals, all accustomed to the extreme cold and isolation. One unique aspect of life here is that it's illegal to die in Longyearbyen due to the permafrost preventing bodies from decomposing. Despite the challenges of Arctic life, Longyearbyen offers a rare experience of living on the edge of the habitable world. Number 5. The Changtang, Tibet. The Changtang, Tibet is one of the most remote and inhospitable regions on Earth, known as the roof of the world. This vast high-altitude plateau stretches across northern Tibet into India, with elevations ranging from 13,000 to 16,000 feet. The region is home to the nomadic Champa people who have adapted to its harsh conditions, herding yaks and sheep in one of the coldest, windiest, and most isolated places on the planet. Reaching the Changtang is extremely difficult due to its remote location, rugged terrain, and lack of infrastructure. The plateau's thin air, freezing temperatures, and limited resources make it a place of survival rather than comfort. Despite this, the Champa have thrived here for centuries, living in tents and following a nomadic lifestyle. The region is also a wildlife haven, with species like Tibetan antelopes and wild yaks making their home in this vast, untouched wilderness. Number 4. Palmerston Island, Pacific Ocean. Palmerston Island, located in the Pacific Ocean, is one of the most isolated places on Earth, part of the Cook Islands. With a population of around 60 people, all descended from one Englishman, William Marsters, who settled the island in the 19th century, it's a unique and tight-knit community. The residents speak a blend of English and Cook Islands Maori, and live on a tiny coral atoll surrounded by crystal-clear waters and vibrant marine life. Getting to Palmerston is a major challenge. There is no airport, so the island can only be reached by boat, often taking several days from the nearest inhabited island. Supply ships visit only a few times a year, and the island's isolation means residents rely heavily on fishing and coconut farming for survival. Despite its remoteness, Palmerston is a tropical paradise, but life there requires resilience and self-sufficiency, cut off from much of the outside world. Number 3. Amundsen Scott South Pole Station, Antarctica. The Amundsen Scott South Pole Station is one of the most remote research outposts on Earth, located directly at the geographic South Pole in Antarctica. Established in 1956, it serves as a vital hub for scientific research on climate, astronomy, and glaciology. The station is operated by the United States and is home to around 50 scientists and support staff during the harsh Antarctic winter, with numbers rising to about 150 during the summer months. Reaching the station is incredibly challenging. Flights to the station are limited and weather-dependent, typically originating from New Zealand, but the extreme cold and constant darkness during winter make travel nearly impossible for several months. The station is completely isolated and temperatures can plummet to -100°F. Despite these hostile conditions, researchers endure life here to study some of the planet's most crucial scientific questions, making Amundsen Scott a unique outpost at the literal end of the Earth. Number 2. Kerguelen Islands, Southern Indian Ocean. The Kerguelen Islands, often called the Desolation Islands, are among the most isolated places on Earth, located in the southern Indian Ocean. This French-administered archipelago is nearly 2,000 miles from the nearest inhabited landmass, Madagascar, and has no permanent population. The only inhabitants are around 50 to 100 scientists, engineers, and researchers who rotate in and out for scientific missions. There are no airports, so getting to Kerguelen requires a weeks-long journey by ship from Reunion Island, the closest French territory. The islands are characterized by rugged, windswept landscapes with steep cliffs, glaciers, and sparse vegetation. Wildlife thrives here, including penguins, seals, and seabirds. Life on Kerguelen is isolated and harsh, with unpredictable weather and cold temperatures year-round. Despite the desolation, the islands serve as a critical research site, contributing to studies on biology, geology, and climate in one of the most remote places on the planet. Number 1. Point Nemo. Point Nemo, located in the South Pacific Ocean, is the most remote point on Earth, also known as the oceanic pole of inaccessibility. It lies over 1,450 nautical miles from any land, making it farther from human civilization than anywhere else on the planet. The nearest land masses are tiny, uninhabited islands, Ducky Island, Motunui, part of Easter Island, and Mar Island in Antarctica. There's no way to visit Point Nemo directly, as it's a point in the ocean rather than an island or landmass. Sailors or researchers would need to journey for days across vast, empty waters to even come close. The isolation is so extreme that the closest humans to Point Nemo are often astronauts aboard the International Space Station as they orbit around 250 miles above Earth. Point Nemo's remoteness makes it a fascinating, eerily empty place in the world's oceans, far from any sign of human life. Thanks for exploring these remote corners of the world with us. If you enjoyed the journey, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more amazing content. Hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest adventures. Until next time, keep exploring.